Welcome to Paranormal Adventures. Do you like scary ghost stories? Do you like haunted history? Because if there's ghosts involved, there's most likely a history and a past that led you to them ghosts. So stay tuned to this paranormal podcast where we'll be discussing your scary stories from around the world and from right here in our local town. So stay tuned. Also like us on Facebook at facebook.com/paranormaladventuresonline, and there you'll find a way to go to our website. There you'll find more information about us and some show notes if ever I have some available. So stay tuned and listen to Paranormal Adventures. In May of 1860, a 51-year-old Illinois lawyer named Abraham Lincoln had just been named as Republican nominee for president. By the time of his inauguration, the following March, 7 states have seceded from the Union, and just a month later, the first shots of the Civil War were fired at Fort Sumter. In the midst of this history-making, 26 dedicated worshipers gathered together on July 28, 1860 to form what will become known as the Conyers Presbyterian Church. Much has happened locally on the world stage since that time, but Conyers Presbyterian Church was organized by the Reverend Hampton C. Carter and the 26 who gathered to form the church and to elect the elders in July of 1860. Soon after organizing, the church built its first sanctuary on a plot of ground in front of the residence of Sarah O'Kelly, which was located on what is now today as O'Kelly Street, and encompasses a parking lot at the Old Town Post Office. Ministers were hired part-time and alternated preaching at the local churches for many years. Often the church would go for long periods of time, sometimes for years, without a pastor. Conyers Presbyterian did not have a full-time pastor until 1946, when the Reverend J.F. Aiken was hired. A large wooden church was built in 1860 where the church now stands on Main Street. Conyers First United Methodist Church next door had been founded in 1852. In 1898, the First Baptist Church moved on the other side of the Presbyterian Church. The close proximity of the 3 houses of worship led them to be called the sidewalk churches. Like many Georgia towns, Conyers takes pride in its sidewalk churches. Along Main Street today, the Presbyterian and the Methodist Church stand side by side. In 1878, First United Methodist began a legacy of joint action and a joint revival with its Presbyterian neighbors. The revival resulted in more than 100 new members and the closing of 9 saloons in Conyers. These churches continue to have joint services throughout the year. The Reverend Henry Quigg served as pastor of the church from 1875 to 1895 and served both the Conyers and Smyrna churches. The round stained glass window known as the Sower and located at the front of the present church was done by German artist S.C. Fischer and dedicated to the memory of Quigg. And I will post links or pictures below of this, and also you can go to the website where I have show notes and also where I'll put pictures in as well. In June of 1903, the church decided to enter in a month of prayer and meditation concerning the rebuilding of the remodeling of the church. In March of 1907, it's decided that the new church building would be stone rather than wood. According to the published church history, the project generated so much conflict that 3 of the trustees resigned, and 2 of them, along with others of the family members, moved their church membership. The new church building was dedicated in January of 1919. Subsequent years after the church, struggling through the Depression by the eve of the World War II, there was a membership of 146 with a budget of $2,091. Many church members served the distinction in the war, and one, Bill Henson Jr., gave his life for his country. The church grew after the war, and a new education building was completed in 1958. In 1963, the sanctuary was remodeled and ground was broken for a 2-story wing in 1979. The church hired its first associate minister, the Reverend James L. Morgan, in 1981. By 1989, the church had an active membership of 656 and approved a new fellowship hall and classroom buildings. And all this takes place in Conyers, Georgia, which is a small town outside of Atlanta, Georgia, which is about 30 miles from Atlanta, Georgia. And this whole article was originally about the Reverend Henry Quigg, who was born in 1826 in Ireland and died in Conyers in 1907. He is buried on the Conyers Cemetery, which is located off of Pine Log Road. And like I said, the stained glass window, which I will post a picture of, is a memory of him. Thank you for listening to today, and I hope you enjoyed this podcast. And this was a history part of my paranormal adventures. And if you like more of this, let me know in the description box below, and I'll do more history things around Conyers, Georgia, and Covington. Thank you for listening to this podcast today on Paranormal Adventures Online. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, give us a like and subscribe. Stay tuned for the next episode of Paranormal Adventures Online, and I'll be posting that episode on Facebook as well. So tell all your friends about us and like us on facebook.com/paranormaladventuresonline.